Great teams have great spines, boys, and it doesn't guarantee you a top 8 spot. We're going to debate that now because we've brought in some really big ins here. The Pies bring in Mastay, D's have brought in Grundy. We've got Freo with Jackson, the Tigers, Taranto, and Jones and Lobb for the Doggies. Jason, I'm going to go to you first. Does a great spine guarantee you a top 8 spot?
No, and we need to make that clarification that we're picking the top 8 spines, not the top 8 teams that are actually going to make the 8. But most good teams have a spine that has class and stability around which the rest of the players can flourish. So ideally, you want to start with a decent spine. Otherwise, it's going to take something special.
Well, what about, Al, can you have a weak spine but still make the top 8?
Well, I think the thing that was interesting to me looking through all these teams is there's really no side that has it absolutely perfect in every single position.
Yep.
There's always a question mark. So I guess the answer to that has to be yes.
What about the Blues? I'm bullish on the Blues. I
know
mentioned it in
you
the
are.
opener. But a strong spine, they say the back line's probably their weakest link. But where do you sit, Al?
No, I like where the Blues are. I mean, the talent's there all the way down the field. I mean, especially if you've got the Twin Towers in attack, which is obviously a pretty good place to start, and they're very solid in defence, and the midfield's fantastic. The one question mark, I guess, for them is maybe in the ruck. Tom's going just coming through, and Paton there, so that's one question mark. But yeah, no, I like where they're going.
What about the D's, Jason, in terms of the spine? So we know Grundy's come in to dawn, and I mean, in the pre-season game, it looked pretty daunting for most teams, but is that the best team in terms of spines?
I think they look really good on paper. What do you expect from Grundy? Well, let's be honest, he didn't have a great season last year, did he? So I don't sit there and say, oh, they're a much better team just because Grundy's come in, but I think they're a much better team because of the fitness of a lot of players that didn't have the right preparation last year after the success the year before. I think they're a team ready to go.
So, Al, I'm looking at yours, the Demons, the Cats, so we're just going to declare our top 8 spines. You've got the D's, the Cats and the Blues. I've gone exactly the same, and then you've thrown the Tigers in there.
Well, something wrong with the Tigers? You recruit Hopper and Taranto into your midfield. You get a couple of, again, some fit players coming back. They had a heap of problems, particularly early in the year last season. So I think they're another team that can really do something.
All right, who rises on the ladder because of their spine?
Well, the one that I've looked at that I'm not sure I could put him in my top 8 at the end of the year, but looking at the spine on paper, the Giants actually shape up pretty well. Now, Taranto and Hopper go out, as you say, but the midfield still looks really strong with Josh Kelly, Canelio, Tom Green, could be absolutely anything. They've got Sam Taylor in defence, he's All-Australian centre half back. And the one that probably, from the stats, jumped off the page is Braden Pruce in the ruck. Last year, he was the #1 hit-out win ruckman in the AFL of any regular ruckman. The problem is, can he actually stay out on the park, not get injured and not do something silly and get himself suspended?
Not even great stats can move the Giants up to go.
And you're coming from our stats, man. Well, talk about the weak ones. So in terms of a weak spine, who have you got as a slider this year?
Yeah, well, I think the Swans are going to struggle to repeat what they did last year. There's nothing wrong with their spine, although I worry about the forward setup. I mean, Buddy's 36, young Logan McDonald hasn't quite developed, so there's a lot of reliance upon your Heaney hybrid types that are playing forward, and they're very good at doing it, and I hate underestimating the Swans because John Longmire is a terrific coach and they continue to reinvent themselves, but I just think they might find it hard backing up after last year.
What about the Lions? I've got them sliding. Now, their spine looks reasonably strong, right? So just make sure I make that point. But I've got them sliding because when they've got the footy, they're 4th in the competition. When they don't have the footy, they're 14th. So I get the biggest worry of their defence. So from a spine perspective, they look good, but I think they're a slider this year. What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, they've got a couple of handy ins. One in Josh Dunkley.
Handy.
And Will Ashcroft looks like he's just going to step straight in and be a star. But I guess Dunkley, what he brings to that team too is that real hard-nosed, defensive-minded midfielder. You know, he tackles, he runs back and, helps out the defence. So I think that'll help them in that, letting the opposition just sort of run the ball too easily from one end to the other.
Now, just clarify for me, you said they've got a strong spine, but you haven't got a spot for that spine in your top 8.
No, I don't, because I think they're the big slider of the year.
Then you're saying the spine's not that strong.
No, I actually have it in there, don't I? No, I don't.
You don't.
No, it's a good point he's made. So he's clipped me on the first episode. But one thing we're going to be guaranteed of is some spine-tingling games in 2023.
Footy is life. It's loyalty, rivalry, love and pain. Footy is everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for footy fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.